Hello, this is Michael and Analia coming to you again for our third Testimony Tuesday installment. And today we want to speak with you about what it looks like when a wife responds positively to her husband. Now, what we learned through this ministry is that when a husband begins walking this out with his wife and making the decision that he is going to die to self and lay his life down for his wife, is that he needs to make it all about her for the first 6 months of this journey that now the two of them are on. And there is a definite reason behind that, and maybe you want to talk a little bit about that, being a husband yourself and having done that for the first 6 months.
Sure. What I learned was that even if Annalie was doing everything perfectly, the way I wanted her to do it, as far as being a wife, I wouldn't change. I would be getting everything I wanted, so therefore there's really nothing wrong with me. There's nothing I need to change. So that's why we do ask husbands to lay down their life for their wives and make it all about their wives' needs and feelings for the first 6 months. And that's primarily so that within what would look like for me, within my mind and my heart, and it was so ingrained that it just became part of my nature, that I would be about Analia, her needs, her feelings, and just willing and wanting to be a blessing to her.
Yeah, and a lot of times too, husband and wife have been married, a number of years, 5, 10, 15. We have one couple in this ministry who's been married for 46 years. And the thing is the husband's never done that for his wife. He's never just made it all about her, laid his life down, loved her as Christ loved the church. He's never done it. And now to get him into that mindset, as Michael was talking about, of that just is a daily habit. He wakes up in the morning and his first thoughts are, how can I bless my wife today? And it's a little tricky, even for the wife in the beginning. I remember what I would do, even though we both had been given the same information about Michael making it all about me for that period of time, is I would be curious as to know what he was thinking or feeling, and I would ask him, I'd say, well, what do you think about this or that? And he would just let me know. He says, I really don't want to talk with you about that right now. I really just, this is my purpose, to just make it all about you. And that was a bit frustrating for me, but I think it was the smart decision.
The reason I gave her that answer was that I didn't want her to feel like she had to really be concerned about my feelings and my needs. And it's not that my feelings and needs don't matter, nor any other husband's needs and feelings don't matter. It's just that we're just so ingrained on having to have our needs and feelings met that we're always putting pressure on our wife to meet those needs, when all along we're really just not genuinely, in a tangible way, willing to meet our wife's needs and feelings and validate her feelings. So what that ends up looking like is these revolving arguments, that I call them, that never seem to get any resolution.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, and I'm sure most other husbands' minds, is that, okay, if she just sees it from my perspective and just starts, understanding, what it really is like, then we wouldn't have this problem.
Right.
So what we end up doing is making our wives feel crazy and frustrated that their husband just can't understand them, can't meet their needs, can't validate their feelings. And if their husband is right, then that makes them not reasonable and somewhat crazy.
Yeah.
And if they're right, then why are they even wasting their time with this husband that's just unwilling to meet her needs and validate her feelings? So the two can't be true.
Exactly. And it's I think the other thing too that can get a little tricky is when a husband is doing, making the decision, okay, I am going to lay my life down for my wife, and I'm going to make it all about her and just really serve her and bless her. Then what has tended to happen, and I know it happened with Michael, because he wrote this long email to Joel, and with other husbands, like, hey, I've been doing this now for a couple of weeks, and just it's killing me, and I'm dying to myself, and just really making it all about her, and she's not responding positively. She should be doing this or that, and she's not doing it, and where's my credit? And this kind of goes back to what I was saying a moment ago, is that a husband's been doing this the opposite way so long for his wife, and then she now that he is making it about her, it's kind of a shocker for a wife. It was for me to now be dealing with a husband who was caring about my thoughts and my feelings in a real and genuine way, that it kind of threw me off balance a little bit. And just even having to get in that place where I would respond positively. I could, let him know, thank you for being that way with me. Thank you for listening to me. Just praising him when he would get it. Making love on a regular basis. To just, keep that bond going. And it is hard. The thing is, though, why we really encourage a wife to respond positively is because what can happen is a wife can be so embittered and upset and angered and hurt over everything that's gone on in the marriage prior to that. She can get into a state of bitterness, and that's something we just really want to encourage wives not to do. If your husband is being with you the way God's called him to be, you definitely want to recognize that in him, and respond accordingly to him, because God's created a wife as a responder and a husband as an initiator. And so once he does start initiating that life and that positive love into the relationship, it's really important to, for him, because it's just, as Christians, even though we know about dying to ourselves, it's just not a natural thing for us. I think for most people, I'll speak for myself, it's not a natural thing for me. It's something I have to work at, and our husbands have to work at it as well.
Because there was a difference of what I was living out with Analia. There was a part of me that I knew I needed to do for her, which was give her a selfless love. And what I was really giving her all those bad years that we had together was a selfish love. And it wasn't like I purposely went about, I'm going to be selfish, I'm not going to care about her. It was just so ingrained in me that I had to have my needs and feelings met, that there was no room for me to meet Analia's needs and validate her feelings. It's just impossible. I haven't met a man out there who's capable of doing the two. And I think that the two are just polarized. They just can't commingle with each other. Not if the goal and the purpose of the marriage is for me to so love Analia that the two of us could become one. It's just for me to learn what it means to give that selfless love. At some point, I have to make that choice as a husband that I'm going to do it. No ifs, ands, or buts. And that's what Analia needs, and I assert that's what every wife needs. And
absolutely.
This is why you're viewing these videos and reading Analia's post on the blog and looking for answers. For the wife, she really needs her husband to be the husband that she knows that he could be, because she wouldn't have married him had she believed that he couldn't be capable of it. And husbands, you didn't marry your wives unless you actually had some hope of actually having a happy marriage together. And this is the goal and the vision of this ministry, that the two of you could be outrageously happily married, have a total major miracle in your marriage and your family life, and just experience a good, abundant life.
Absolutely. And remember, as we always say, if we can do it, you can do it 100%. If anyone's as bad as we were and can come on the other side as we're coming on the other side, we are fully confident that God will enable the two of you to do the same. So thank you so much for listening. We look forward to meeting you again next Tuesday for another Testimony Tuesday installment about this ministry and our walk in it. Remember to visit our website at yourmarriagerestored.info for additional resources on how you too can also have an outrageously happy marriage. God bless, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.